So yesterday we saw how is the VPC structure, right? So here in your VPC,
With little bits, can you speak little bit high, like the voice?
now, yes, yes, yes. Is it okay now?
Yes, it is okay.
Okay. So here we saw yesterday, this is your VPC and a subnet inside it and an EC2 instance inside it, right? So this is the hierarchy. Okay. EC2 instance. Here is your subnet and your VPC, right? Virtual Private Cloud. So here will be your internet gateway. And when you create a VPC, you automatically get one route table in it, right? One default route table like this. So this is the internet gateway. Okay, gateway for internet from VPC, between VPC and internet. Okay, this is the internet gateway. So this internet gateway will always be attached to the VPC. This is the route table where all the routes are defined. Okay. And we can see here in route table. Okay. Okay. There is a route to connect to the internet. Okay. Between EC2 and internet. Okay. That route, if it is defined there, so you can easily connect to the internet like this. Okay. So if your public subnet, okay, so route table is defining you that resources here inside this subnet, okay, can connect to the internet, okay, through the internet gateway. So resources inside this subnet, okay, so subnet is a logical boundary, right? So this subnet will be private public subnet automatically, right? So public can access it or you can interact with public outside your VPC. So this will be the public subnet.
The voice is not audible, Sumit.
Wait.
Hello?
Yes, yes, wait. Public subnet it is, right? Similarly, so we'll see this use case. Okay, yesterday we saw how we can create a VPC. Okay, we created one VPC. We created a public subnet. Okay, now the same way we will create an EC2 instance. Okay, let us see how we can configure the EC2 instance. Okay. We will go on EC2 dashboard. Okay, EC2 is a different service to host elastic compute cloud machines. Okay, or virtual servers in the cloud. So I'm on EC2 dashboard. Okay, and I will launch my first instance. Okay, I will name it as web app. You can name any. Okay, now it is asking you to select. Okay, here we are configuring our EC2 instance. Okay, configuring our EC2 instance, or you can say virtual machine on cloud. Okay, so you need to know which operating system you want on your virtual machine, right? So an AMI is a template that contains the software configuration like operating system, application server, and applications required to launch your instance. Search or browse for AMIs. Okay, if you do not see what you are looking for below. So let's browse. Okay, and you can see here free tier eligible. Okay, so those who are free tier eligible, you can use them if your account is under free tier. Okay, Red Hat is also there. Okay, so let's start with Amazon Linux. Okay, which is also a Red Hat Linux distribution. Okay,
This is a free tier, Amazon Linux, this one.
yes, free tier eligibility, right? So this is the earlier version. This is the latest version. Okay, let's use this one. 64-bit x86 architecture configuration we have selected, right? For Amazon Linux 2. Okay, x86 64-bit architecture. And you can see here virtualization HVM and root device type EBS. Okay, so one EBS volume will be attached to your instance to store the data. Okay, and elastic network access enabled. Yes, let's see. So right now we are creating one EC2 instance. Okay, but let's see what it asks. Okay, so in this region, okay, I am in the Stockholm region, and here you see instance type. They are starting from, okay, here they are starting from T3.nano. Okay, going onwards like this. So different instance types are there. Okay, so some are ARM64 architecture, some are x86 64. So our operating system or any our general operating system is this architecture, right? x86 64. So which one to use? Instance type. Okay, so CPU memory, okay, and CPU, number of CPU and memory in GIB, okay, which is RAM and CPU. So let's select the one which is free tier eligible. Okay, so we can see here T3.micro is free tier eligible. Okay, T3.nano is not. So choose the one which is free tier eligible. Okay, so I am choosing the one default T3.micro which is free tier eligible. Then key pair. Okay, so key pair where a public key and private key is generated. Okay, if you do not create a key pair or if you do not use key pair, so you cannot log into your instance, means you cannot access your instance, right? So you need to create a new key pair. Okay, so if you have created a key pair, you can use it, otherwise you can create a new key pair. Okay, so we will name it as new key pair. Okay, name I am giving by my own. Okay, so it can be any name. New key pair. I am giving new key pair. So a key pair is created. Okay, and see, it's asking you to download a key. Okay, private key, it is asking you to download. Public key is automatically saved on all the instances that you are going to launch in this VPC. Okay, but private key you need to save it on your local machine. Okay, and you should not share it with anyone. Okay, so that there will be a, it will be secure. Okay, your instance will be secure. So this private key is kind of password.
Sumit, what is the difference between this private key and public key?
So this private key is like your password, okay, and public key is like your email ID.
Okay,
So if you want other to send you email, will you send them password or email ID,
email ID.
right? So this is like your password. Okay, so the private key you need to save it on your local machine. So I'm saving it on my local machine on desktop. Okay, so it's now downloaded. Okay, now network setting here. It's ask you in which network you want to create your instance. As we saw in the diagram, we are creating our EC2 instance, which is the end entity. Okay, in your VPC. Okay, so your EC2 instance will be created somewhere in the VPC. So if we also have seen like in every region there is one default VPC. So if you are not creating any VPC, you can create your EC2 instance in that default VPC. Okay, so that is the one way. But what we will do, we will again create a new VPC and we will, okay, so that will be task for you. Okay, that will be task for you. For example, yesterday we created one VPC, right? Public subnet we created. Okay,
Yes.
by connecting it to the internet gateway, right?
Yes.
By adding the route in the route table also. Today we will create it in default VPC. Okay, and your task will be to create your own VPC, public subnet, and in that way, if you have that created your new VPC, it will appear. Okay, then
Yes.
in that VPC, you will have to select your subnet. Okay, now there is no other VPC, so there is no other subnet. These are all the subnets which are there in your default VPC. Okay, by default. So if you are finding it difficult to recall, what you will have to do, you will have to practice. If you are learning one thing, you will have to practice 5 things. Okay, 5
Yes.
different things. So if you are practicing it, so practicing is really important. If you want to learn these things, okay, you will be able to implement only if you are practicing it 5 different ways. Okay, so practicing daily without a miss. Okay, so let's see here. I have created a new VPC. I will select that subnet, okay, which is a public subnet, okay. And you know, public subnet is not by name, but it is by if it is attached to the, I mean, in route table, it is connected to that internet gateway, okay, okay. And then to your EC2 instance, if you give public IP, then only any web application you can access it from web browser, okay, because public IP is an IP by which public, I mean someone out of the scope of VPC can access your web application from internet. Okay. So you will have to keep public IP enabled. Okay. Now what is this firewall? Firewall or security group? Security group is your instance level security. So it can allow or block which traffic to allow inside your EC2 instance or which traffic to block. Now what are different kinds of traffic? So there are different types of web traffic, for example, HTTP, TLS. Okay, there are different kind of ICMP. Someone is only ping rule. There are different kinds of traffic actually, UDP, TCP. So you will have to allow only specific types so that your instance will be secured and you will not be, okay. I mean, no one will, it will be little secure and threat proof, right?
Here you won't select any subnet in this case.
So here in this case, we will see, we are just discussing about when you will create your own VPC, you will select that subnet from your VPC and you will assign one public IP and then a security group, which will be your instance level security. Okay. And in security group, you see here, there is a default rule, SSH. Okay. So this SSH rule is for so that you or someone can connect to your system. Okay, so SSH rule is there by default. Okay, without it, you cannot access your EC2 instance. Okay,
SSH full form, what is the full form of SSH? It
it is
is
secure shell.
okay.
Hmm.
Just like remote connection, right?
Right.
RDP in Windows.
Correct, correct. So SSH is by default. Okay, is the default. Uh, what we say software, built-in software, Open SSH. Okay, and all the connections to the Linux happens with this SSH, right? So we understood the requirements to connect our EC2 instance in your own VPC. Okay, now we have no VPC created, so we are going to use the default VPC. Okay, now you also understand that whenever you create a VPC, you assign one IPv4 CIDR value, right? So for a while, you just stick to this value, IPv4 CIDR value. Okay, or the or as in the last session we use 192.168.0.0/16. Okay, you can use that value. Okay, and I will share one article with you. Okay, go through it so that you can also understand what are ports and how the IP is enabled, or kind of how what different IPs IPv4 CIDR we can assign. Okay. So here in subnet, it says if you do not give a preference, okay, if you do not choose any IP, okay. Now we can also see here that every subnet was automatically, okay, routed to the internet gateway, right? So let's see it once. I think not from here, but we will see it later. Okay. So you can either choose any subnet in which you want to host your EC2 instance, or if you do not choose, Amazon will choose one subnet for you among these three. Okay. So I'm letting Amazon choose one subnet for me among these three. Okay. I have no such specification. Okay. Public IP I will have to enable. Okay. Here in my case, because my use case is that I am going to create one web application so that public can access it. So public IP should be there. Now, security group. Okay, SSH is the one security group rule. Let's keep it. And this is the root volume or storage volume. Okay, free tier eligible customer can get up to 30 GB of EBS, general purpose SSD or magnetic storage. And you can also add new volume. Okay, so you can also increase or decrease the size. Okay, so minimum 8 GB is there. Okay, volume is smaller than snapshot, so must be at least 8 itself. At least 8. Okay. And delete on termination, which is, so once your instance will be terminated, this volume will automatically be deleted. Okay, volume and all its data, all the data stored in, like our application or whatever we are going to create in that. Okay, so let's start with this. Okay, we have created a key pair, a storage volume is there attached, a security group rule is there attached. Okay, VPC, subnet, and public IP is given, and instance type is chosen where it, okay, this was the free tier eligible, I have chosen it, and the free tier eligible Amazon Linux to AMI I have chosen, and I have given a name for my EC2 instance by which I can recognize, okay, my instance name is this. Amazon EC2 allows you to create virtual machine or instances that runs on the AWS cloud. Okay, and it says quickly get started by following the simple steps below. Okay, here you can review, okay, what all things you have created, and you can also adjust the number of instances you want to create with this setting. Okay, so when launching more than one instances, consider EC2 auto scale.
How many instances we can create, Sumit, in free tier?
So it depends upon you how many you want to create. It's not like in free tier you can create as many instances, but see here, it is saying you that in your first year include 750 hours of T2.micro or T3.micro in the regions in which T2.micro is unavailable. Where T2, now here we saw T2 type was not present, right? So T3 was there, T3.micro, which was also free tier. Okay, so how many hours are there? 750 hours. So as many number of instances you create, okay, so even 10 minutes will be multiplied by those number of instances, right?
Oh, okay, okay, I got
And
it.
once your usage is over, you will be charged for it. Okay,
Means you create
instance.
3 instances,
Hmm.
like for 3 instances, but I have used 5 minutes. Means 5
Hmm.
into 3, 15 minutes actually. But
Hmm.
I have used it just for 5 minutes, right?
Correct, correct.
Oh,
So it is always recommended to delete your resource. Now see, this instance will start charging me once I launch the instance. Charging means the billing will start from as I launch the instance. Then you may keep it in stop state or kind of any other. Okay, but you will be billed once you launch the instance. Okay, now how much the, okay, see, billing will start after, if you are in free tier, it will start after 750 hours. In my case it is not free tier, it is already over 1 year, it's more than 1 year. Okay, so 750 hours usage is there. Okay, once it is over, okay, on free tier AMIs per month, okay, 30 GB of EBS storage and 2 million IO input outputs, 1 GB of snapshots, and 100 GB of bandwidth to the internet. Okay, so internet bandwidth is also limited. See here, 100 GB only. Okay, launch instance. So see, creating security group rules and launching initiation. Okay, so one instance ID is also generated. You can click this one, or you can simply go here in instances. Okay, and see here. Okay, web app and okay, open it and see the configuration settings. They are as desired, right? But you can see here 172.31.42.28. Okay, so as the VPCs, where is VPC? Here is my VPC. Okay, I can open it from here as well. It will bring me to, it will take me to VPC dashboard. right? This VPC. Okay, and you see here its IP address, IPv4 CIDR is 172.31, and you can also see here your EC2 instance private IP is also 172.31. Okay, initial are not changed, 4228. Okay,
One moment, Sumit. This private IP 170.31.40.40, it is for the instance IP, but that one, the one which you have shown, it is for VPC IP, right?
so it is what is VPC? VPC is the logical boundary which is keeping your resources secure so that no other person who has not access to your VPC cannot intervene in that, right? Cannot enter in your VPC.
That's what it is, a range, IP range,
Hmm?
from where uh,
So all
from
the resources will be
uh,
in this range, okay, in
in
this
this
network
range.
ID only, 172.31. In this only, they will be, right? Like this, 42 to it, okay. So that I can recognize, oh, yes, this is my VPC's instance, right?
No, this one thing I cannot actually understand. This I'm not good at. Like, yeah, यहाँ पर 172.31.40 to 28 is there. So how does it falls in this range? This, there is a calculation something, right? 16. That I don't understand, Sumit. Is
So
it important for
here,
the
see,
DevOps?
as EC2 is the end entity, so all the 4 bytes are completed. So here is no slash value, okay. 4 bytes are completed mean 32 bits are occupied completely.
I can put anything instead of this 40,
So
20.
this is the end entity. You see, did we assign any private IP address to our instance? We didn't, right? Because it has taken it automatically. You just need to assign the network ID for your VPC and subnets. That's it. End entity, which is EC2 instance, will automatically get one private IP address. Okay.
Can this IP be 172.31.40.999? Is it possible?
It could be, but it will get automatically by
Automatically, yes, I understand that.
automatically it is getting from your network. In which
And
network you are, it is getting that automatically.
and it can also be
It can be any.
172.31.999.
Next time you create a new instance, this will be different. Okay, but
Okay.
172.31 only it will be, right?
4 digit also होता है.
Hmm?
4 digit instead of 228, can it be 9999? 449.
No, not 4 digits.
3 digit. Okay.
3 digits only.
ठीक.
The range is between 0 to 255 only.
Oh, okay. 255.
0 to 255.
How you have calculated that?
Because 1 byte contain 8 bit, right?
Okay. But here is 16.
8 bits.
Uh,
So 2 to the power 8 is equal to 256. Okay, and the 256 range is 0 including 0 to 255. Okay, so in this way they are 256. So what is 256 number? It is the range 0 to 255. So your this number, okay, IP address range will also be below 255 and okay, I mean in between the 0 to 255, but not more than 255 or not lesser than 0. Okay.
Understood.
Hmm.
Yes.
Every byte will be in that range only, 0 to 255, 0 to 255. It will vary like that. Okay. But here, this end entity, okay, EC2 is your end entity. You are not assigning private IP, okay, and public IP, you just need to enable that option. So automatically one public IP will be get, okay.
This
And
is
this is
not
also, you can see here, it is IPv4 address, okay. So for public IP, it doesn't need that in which network because it is public IP. Okay, we do not want public to understand which network you are in. Okay, so it will be any random number. Okay, but address family will be IPv4. Okay,
this things IP addressing, this is it important? Not, it is not that important for that calculation and everything. It is not the work of DevOps engineer, right?
You can say not or you can say yes also. Why? Because still you have to assign IP, okay, network ID to your VPC, to your subnet. So it is important as well, okay, but not that much. Okay, but you should have that basic knowledge, right?
Yes.
You cannot section 6 different section. You should have that basic knowledge. No, the range is between 0 to 255. Right? Okay, cool. So here my instance is configured and public IP is assigned automatic. Okay, enabled. So VPC. Okay, I have opened VPC from here itself. Okay, I can see here the VPC. Okay, and so there were also 3 subnets, one subnet in each availability. One subnet is in each availability. Okay. Route table is there by default. Whenever you create a VPC, route table creates by default. Is created by default. Okay. In route table there are routes defined. Okay. And because there is a route defined, okay, to allow the resources, I mean the instances in the subnets to connect to the internet through internet gateway. So route is defined here. So you can see here, observe here the network connection of the subnets to the internet gateway. So any subnet your instance is inside, okay, you can still connect to the internet because all are routed through internet gateway. Okay. So we do not know in which subnet our instance is in. Okay, we had given no preference, but we can see here in which subnet my instance is in. It is in 1272. Okay, which is here 1272. Okay, in the availability zone B of Stockholm region, right? Of the availability zone, it is posted in. I could have given preference also. No, I want it in A or I want it in C, like that, right? But you can see here, all are routed to the internet gateway here. See. Okay, all subnets are routed towards through internet gateway or are connected with internet gateway also. So all are public subnets in this sense. Okay. So in the default VPC, they have given one subnet per each availability zone, and all subnets are public subnets. However, they are all connected to the internet gateway as well. Okay, route is defined in the route table. You can open and see here if the route is there or not. Without it, you will not find the that network connection to the internet gateway. See here, destination internet, target internet gateway. Okay, ID also you can see here, C222. Okay, you can see C222, right? In this way, you will also have to see this resource map every day, okay, to understand what is happening. Okay, so you see here 3 subnet association. Okay, in this route table, 3 subnets are associated. Okay, and 2 routes, including local. What is local? Local means all the resources inside VPC can communicate among each other. Okay, but in the boundary of VPC, and here in the boundary of internet means anywhere on the internet. Okay, through internet gateway. Cool. So this was just to understand if it is configured properly. In this way, you can also now once our instance is created, okay, key pair is there, we can connect to our instance. Okay, without connecting, we cannot access our EC2 instance. Okay, so the first option, which is EC2 instance connect, you will find it enabled if you have created a key pair. Okay, so I can connect to the instance as it is Amazon Linux instance. Okay, now to operate this EC2 instance, you need to know some Linux commands. Okay, Amazon Linux to AMI. You need to know some Linux commands. So what can they be? Okay, so one is sudo su means right now I am login as a, okay, by default you are logging as a user. Okay, EC2 user you can see here by default. Okay, enter the username defined in AMI used to launch it. If you didn't define a custom username, use the default username EC2 use. So this is here by default and you are logging as a, but you know To only a root user all the permissions are given. Okay, so to log in as a root user, you can use this command sudo su. Su means switch user. It will automatically switch user and you will log in as a root user. Sudo su, and now you are logged in as a root user. Root user at the rate which IP it is? Private IP, right? It is private IP. You can see here also, right? Root user at the rate private. Now you want to create a web application. For creating web application, you need to create a web server or you need to install web server. Okay. So you can install any web server which is open source. You do not have to download anything on your machine, but on that EC2 instance itself. Okay. So you see here, Apache HTTP server project. The name is same, Apache HTTP. Okay. In your Amazon Linux instance, the name is HTTP. Okay. So how you can download Apache HTTP server? Okay. This is the name HTTP. Okay. So the command to download it is Google will give me a command. Okay, it is yum update or yum install httpd. Okay, this is the command. Now what is yum install? Why it is saying yum install? Because in the yum repository, okay, there is option to install package. Okay, which one is? It is httpd. Okay, your Apache which is named as httpd package here. Okay, this is the web server. So web server is the interface where, or it is a framework where you can create your or you can host your web application. Okay, so if you want to host any web application, you will need web server. Okay, and that web server name is httpd. Okay, it is available in the yum repository. Okay, and you can give a command to your yum repository to install httpd package. Okay, so give it enter. So it is saying that these things are there to install. Okay, if you want, you can proceed by giving any, choosing any option here. Okay, so Y for yes. Now your web application is installed. Where you can check it. Okay, now again a Linux command is there to change the directory. Okay, cd means change directory. Okay, and with slash all the paths start. Okay, so in slash, okay, you can see here by checking what is present there in the directory. So ls, okay, there are, this is the file system present in your Linux. Okay, so in var, your, you can also see here where is httpd installed. Okay, the path you will find as var www html. Okay, anywhere on the internet you can find it. Okay, so in var, if you find www is there, it means that, okay, now you want to go in this directory, so change directory to var. Okay, and say again ls to check what is there, and you can see here www is also there. Okay, this is what your web server. So cd www. Again, check what is there. You can see here HTML is also there. Okay, so cd HTML. Check what is there. There is nothing. Now here you can create your first line of code. Okay, or first web application. Okay, so echo is the command to enter any data. Okay, so you can say this is my first web application. Okay,
Sumit,
if you
I
need.
have one doubt before you proceed. Uh,
Hmm,
if you scroll up a little bit, scroll up a
hmm,
little bit, you'll find you have installed this HTTPD using this command yum install HTTPD.
hmm.
So now my one question is, this the only HTTPD is the only web application? For example, let's say, can you give me one example of other application, web application?
So HTTPD is what is it? It is a web server. Okay. So
Web
different
server.
web servers available are okay. Even open source also there are different web server. For example, Nginx. Okay.
Nginx. Okay. So
Hmm.
now one thing in that command prompt, if I want to install Nginx, so
Hmm.
can I do this thing? Yum install Nginx. Will it
No,
show
not yum install. Which command is that? You need to find here. Okay. Download
okay,
Nginx with
for Linux, right?
Amazon Linux. Okay.
Understood.
Like that. And use that command. Okay. So maybe it is possible that it is present in yum repository. Okay. So echo. Okay. When I say echo, okay, this is what the thing data you want to echo. Okay, echo. So enclose it in double quotes or single quotes and say enter. You see here a line of code is printed. Okay. Now use the same command and enter it in index.html. Now what is index.html? Whenever you create any file with name index.html, then you can see it on your web server also. Okay, so it will be your web application. Okay, if there is a file index.html present, then it means that you can create that web application. Okay, so for creating any web application, index.html should be present. Okay, what is .html here? It is the markup language extension by which you can see any web page on the web server. Okay,
I
so
didn't understood here. Like in this ls you have given this, then cd var you have given, then ls. I didn't understood properly. Like it's why have you changed the directory to HTML? This is
HTML, right? So
yes.
that is the default path where your index HTML is stored. Okay, in that directory. And how you can check it? You can
How
check it in the
index is
HTTPDs in whatever package you have installed. You can check it its configuration file also. Okay, and you will find that path var www.html. Okay, for example,
still I didn't understand.
if you see here, okay, if you go through its doc, you will find here. This is the open source project. Okay, and you can see the
Open source
documentation.
project, what do we mean by open source project?
Hmm, this is getting started. You can check here. Okay, so host name and DNS. Okay, more than one hostname may point to same IP address. More than one IP address can be attached to the same physical server like this. Configuration files and directives, log files and troubleshooting. Okay, so you can check the log in this error log. or handlers. Okay, and you see here this directory, this is what it is. Typically, a document called index.html will be served when a directory is requested without a file name being specified. For example, if document root is set to var www.html and a request is made for http://example.var, the file var www.html work index.html will be served to the client. It says, okay. So this is what the document root where your index.html is being served. Okay. So your index.html should be in this directory var www.html. Okay. So give the same path as /var. Okay. You can copy it also. Okay. Like this /var/www/html. And in that index.html, create it. Okay. And now you can check with ls also. Okay, index.html is created. With the cat command, you can also read the index.html. This is my first web app. Let us see it on your web browser also. How will we do it? First of all, you need to start your web server. Okay. So you can
Sumit,
start it.
can you hear me, Sumit?
Yes.
Hello, Sumit.
Yes, yes.
You like here what my question is like you have in that after that complete you can see cd/ls you have changed that cd where then ls uh, like what are we trying to do? I cannot understand.
So we are just changing the directory. We are checking what is there. We are changing the directory. We are checking what is there. Right.
Okay, in every directory you are checking what are there in that directory like cd uh, www you
Hmm.
have went there in the www we have
Because you are using terminal, right? You are using terminal.
so
Linux is
okay.
operated full through the terminal, not
Hmm.
like GUI. Like here, I just open a
Correct.
tab and I can see what is there. But here
Okay,
you
like
need to check
file
it with
kind of.
commands. Okay. So you can start with beginners. Okay,
Yes, yes.
Linux course for beginners. You can start with that and you can start the learning the Linux commands.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So that
So
you have done eco, then you have gone in eco. This is my first web page. Then symbol you have given where index.html. So this line will you tell me like we have put
I
this.
am entering this line. This is
Hmm,
my first web app, which is enclosed in double quotes.
hmm.
With append sign is saying you that you want to enter it in this file, which is present in this path var www.html index.html. Okay.
Now, Mike, here, how did you come to know this is a path where www.html
The
index?
same we checked here also. No, this is
Yes.
the document root where your index.html is will be served. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it depends on your experience, right? Like how we have to
So
understand.
every time what you will have to do, you will have to open that package configuration and you will have to check what is the document root. Okay. And there you can now as its utility is to serve the index.html, so you will have to find its document root. Okay. Because this is new to you, you can follow this as it is. Okay, first. Then upon practice and upon exploring, you will understand the things slowly, slowly. Okay. Gradually you will start understanding it. But first of all, you will have to implement it as it is blindly. Okay.
What do we call this? This where www.html, what we call, is it a path or
This is a path
okay,
directory where your index.html is present. It is in this directory index var www.html. Okay.
okay,
So from root, okay, this is the absolute path. From root, it is inside var directory, there inside the www directory, there inside the html directory, there the file index.html is present. Okay. Now to serve this file from web browser, you will have to start your web server first. So systemctl is a service which help you start the web server, which is HTTPD. Okay, so you can first of all you can check if it is what is the status like this, and you see here it is inactive date. So what you can do, you can start it. Okay, start it. Now you again check its status, and it will say you yes, it is active and running. Now your EC2 instance is also having some instance level security called as firewall, right? It is blocking the traffic. Okay, so if you go here on if you go, okay, and if you copy this public IP, okay, if you copy this public IP and if you enter it here, okay, your private IP is not recognized on the internet. You will have to use public IP. Okay, if you hit it here, it will say not reachable. Why? Because your instance level security is not allowing to serve any traffic at the moment. Only SSH rule is there. So you will have to add that rule for serving web traffic. I mean, for serving the HTTP traffic. Okay. So there are two types of traffic for serving web application, HTTP and HTTPS. Okay. So where you see this no lock sign, okay, it means that it is the unsecure. Okay. And where you see like this lock, it means that it is HTTPS. Okay. See here, httpd apache.org. This is the secure. Okay. So here are some certificates and other things. Okay. That's why it is secure. So you need to add those certificates. You need to purchase the domain. Then it becomes a secure. So right now we just want to test by creating one sample web application. Okay. So this is for test use case. So you will use HTTP traffic only. Okay. So let's see. Let us add that rule in your instance. Okay. So go in the instance like this. Go in the security. Okay, and here in the security group, okay, open it, and you see here inbound and outbound, means incoming and outgoing traffic. So for now you want to check if your application is running. So towards application you're trying to access it, right? You're trying to reach to your instance. So it is the inbound rule. So here edit that inbound rule and add a new rule. Okay, add here the rule. Okay, HTTP rule. This one. Okay, so by default it serves on port number 18. Okay, now source, from where the traffic is coming, we need to choose that source. Okay, so from anywhere with IPv4 address family, from anywhere with IPv4 address family, if it is coming, then okay, HTTP traffic, then allow it, allow the traffic. Now you see here two rules are added. Okay, two permission entries. Now you can also check your, okay, or other way is like to copy the public IPv4 DNS. Okay, so you can also use this one either or this one. Okay, both are similar to access your instance. Okay, so let's see this, and you can see here this is accessible. First I didn't try with public IP. Actually, I copied the private IP here. This one was the private IP. You will have to copy the public IP, and I can see here I can access my web application. Okay, this is the static content. Okay, or you can say static website. Okay, in the same way you can just change, and you can check it from the terminal also. Okay, if your application is not running, okay, here what you can do, you can also check the logs. Where are the logs? Okay, I will come outside again. With the cd, okay, only cd change directory, you will automatically come to the root path, from where you will again have to do like this cd/var, okay, and check with ls. You can see here log directory is also, okay, access that directory, check what is there. And here you can see httpd, okay, httpd, this is what our package, we want to see its logs, okay, so httpd. And let's see what is there, access log and error log. So if you get any error, you will see what is there in error log. Now this is not a directory, this is a file, so how will you read it? You can read it with cat, okay. So to read any file, use this command cat error log, okay, and you see here the logs are visible, okay. So there is no error, okay. So you can see, okay, first of all it was like inactive or kind of thing, your server will continue to work but http2 protocol will be inactive, okay. Your server will continue to work but http2 protocol will be inactive. Then Apache 2457 configured, resuming normal operation and foreground. Okay, foreground means it is, okay, user has been HTTP. It is web server is running in the foreground. So similar way, you can also check the access log at access log. Okay, and you can see here get is the request. Okay, get is the request type. You can see here you are trying to access. Okay, so these are the from Chrome. You can see here. These are the access logs. So 2 times I accessed it. You can see here 2 times logs are. Okay, so this is your first web application. Now the next thing is to terminate your instance after the test use case. Okay.
But
Otherwise,
Sumit, like if I want to make some changes in that web application, like you have mentioned, this is my first web app. I want to make some changes and again I want to print it. Means display it.
same way you have entered the first command like echo and in double quotes the data. You can change it from there.
Change it from there. Okay.
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 Now the test case is over. Just instance state, terminate the instance. Okay. Successfully terminate. So you can check it here or you can go here. Okay. It is saying shutting down. In some second, it will say terminated. Okay. So the volume and the data will be destroyed automatically.